Here I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea of some of the quirks when it compares one string, one bit of text, to another bit of text. And things don't always work exactly as you might expect intuitively. So I've written a short program here with a while statement where I repetitively prompt the user for their first name or to enter quit. If they did enter quit, they break out of the loop and go to the end of the program. So the first name here, here's the meat of it. If the first name they entered, and I attached a strip to it so it would get rid of any leading or trailing spaces. If it's greater than Steve, I'm not doing the equals here, I'm doing it greater than. If it's greater than Steve, print out that name is greater than Steve, else say it's less than or equal to Steve. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. So run the module. So what's your first name? So I'll put in my name, and it says it's less than or equal. So it's equal, so that's true. So if I put in Bob, it says Bob is less than, and we'd expect that. How about Tom? Tom should be greater, right? And it is. Tom is greater than Steve. Now here's the interesting thing. I put in Steve, lowercase, enter, and it says Steve with a lowercase s is greater than Steve with an uppercase S. Now that might be counterintuitive. You almost think lower would be lower, right? No, but lowercase letters are higher than uppercase letters for comparison. It doesn't look at capital S and lower s or capital T and lower t. All of the uppercase letters are lower than the lowercase a. All the lowercase letters are higher than all of the uppercase letters. So in the lesson itself, I included what's called the collating sequence that shows you who gets priority, who wins in a sort or a comparison. I'm going to go over here briefly and I'll just walk you through that. So I've gone over to the lesson itself. This is at 3.6, module 3.6. And there's the code and the thing. And so here's something called collating sequence, which also you can think of as a sorting order. So space is kind of at the lowest end. There's actually some special characters and null and some other things that come before this, but for all practical purposes, how you're working here, space is the lowest of the low. Nothing is greater than space. And then exclamation point, number sign, so that each symbol has to have a position. One is ampersand's greater than percent. Why? I don't know. That's just the way they set it up. So let's go up through these symbols and we get to numbers. So 0 through 9 is always lower than pretty much anything else except those characters above there. And then there's some more characters. Well, why they didn't put those characters over there? Again, no idea. That's just the way they set it up. This is a collating sequence that you may need to refer to. Then, so we see the uppercase letters all together. A through Z there. They're all considered lower than anything like the left bracket, or as you'll see, all the lowercase letters. So lowercase a is higher than all of the uppercase letters. Like I say, sort of counterintuitive, but that's the way they set it up. And you've got to know that, and especially if you're doing certain sorts and things are behaving in a case sensitive manner. And then towards the end, you've got the delete key and the tilde and whatever, braces. So this could become an issue later when we do sorting or doing comparisons. So you need to understand how that works. If you needed a lowercase s to be equivalent to an uppercase s, you would need to, of course, do something in there to compare them in a case insensitive manner using the lower or upper function to help that work out. All right, let's go back to the code. So again, I'm pretty much going to leave it there. When you're not checking for quality, you're checking for something greater than or less than. You have to understand that collating sequence to know how it's going to work. All right, that ends the short lesson on comparing strings.